Welcome back to Up Front. Polls have shown a tight race between Republican Governor Scott Walker and his Democratic challenger, State School Superintendent Tony Evers. In fact, most political prognosticators now call the race a toss-up. And that's partly due to Walker's performance with independent voters so far this year. Why does the governor appear to be struggling with a group of voters he's carried in past elections? We're asking Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel Washington Bureau Chief Craig Gilbert. Craig, thanks very much for being with us. And you've written a lot about this role of the independent voter in this election year. And let's begin there. How many of these folks are out there, and tell us a little bit about them? Who are they?
Yeah, I mean, in the polling, about as much as 40% of the voters call themselves independent, but most of those people are actually what politicians call soft partisans. It means they think of themselves as independent, but they tend to favor one party over the other. And what's going on with the Republicans right now is that those, super swingy voters, that 5 or 10% of the electorate that just doesn't necessarily lean toward either party, is breaking for the Democrats. And also the soft partisans, the soft Republicans, they're seeing some defections. It's a small number, but it's a meaningful number because you don't see those defections on the Democratic side. So those two things in concert, are giving the Republicans fits right now. And in a state like Wisconsin, where there's equal numbers of Republican and Democratic voters, and those hardcore Democrats and Republicans are all voting for their own party, it's the more independent voters that decide elections.
So there's obviously cause for concern if you're Governor Walker. Help us remember, Craig, how the governor has performed with these independent voters in past elections.
Well, he'll tell you that he absolutely needs to win independents in Wisconsin. In the exit polls, in his 3 victories in 2010, 2012, and 2014, he carried independents by anywhere from 9 to 11, 12, 13 points. So he carried independents handily in every one of those elections. Right now, though, he's got a deficit with independents in all the public polling of about 10 or 11 points. So he needs to change that dynamic between now and November 6th.
How does he do that? Because I would assume he's walking a fairly fine line here. He has to be careful. He's got to energize his base, make sure those folks turn out. But yet he has to conduct himself in a way that appeals to those folks in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. And he's put a huge emphasis on mobilizing his base because, of course, there's this fear on the Republican side that Democrats are more energized, that Democrats are going to turn out like crazy. So to do both those things, to kind of gin up Republican voters, but then reach out to voters who tend to be less partisan and maybe in some cases a little more centrist. You see the governor trying to do that on issues like education. But it's a challenge. I mean, one of the challenges is the longer you've been in power, the harder it gets to sort of stay in office in this day and age. And independents, in many cases, are, particularly skeptical of politicians, and in many cases sort of anti-Washington, anti-power. The Republicans are the party in power in both Madison and Washington, and you've got an unpopular Republican president kind of looming over it all. So he's got some real challenges. He's got some vulnerabilities on some issues like education that are important to independent voters. So this is his challenge. I mean, He's been trying to kind of shore up his own standing with independent voters. And the other thing he's obviously trying to do is to kind of beat up his opponent, Tony Evers, and kind of raise his negatives so that Tony Evers doesn't do as well with independent voters.
Craig Gilbert is the Washington Bureau Chief for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Always good to have you on the program, Craig. Thanks very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
When we come back, a polling experiment puts the spotlight on the race to replace Wisconsin Congressman Paul Ryan.